Hi everyone. I am so happy to welcome you to our demo today, our comic book demo with Magma. So I'm going to explain a little bit, first of all, what our company is, Pitch Dev Studios. Our company designs and produces universe for movies, video games, interior design, yacht design, architecture, animation, live action, a little bit of everything. What we do, we put teams together and we create content for projects. So I am very lucky to be joined today by a great group of people that I'll be presenting after. Maybe we can say hi, first of all, to the people.
Hi.
I don't know if they can see us, if we can have like a 3 people presentation so that camera so that we can see them. Here we go. Hi, everyone. I'll be presenting those awesome guys in a minute, but first we're going to start with our show reel so that we know what our company is and what we do. So here you go. That gives you hopefully a little idea of the kind of work we do. So I'm going to present the people that are going to be demoing today. We have probably my favorite character concept artist in the world that I worked with. I highly recommend him as an artist. Is Antonio De Luca, from all the way from Italy.
Hi everyone.
So Antonio, we can ask questions to Antonio. You can ask them, we're looking at your questions on the stream. You can ask him questions in Italian, but then he will have to be the one reading them. But you can ask them in English. And then the other person that just appeared now, he's the extraordinary Yariv that put this whole demo together. Yariv live from Israel. Hi, Yariv.
Hey.
Hey. Yariv is contacting us from Israel, and he's an incredible concept artist. He does a little bit of everything, like a lot of us do at Pitch Dev. So you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Yariv Newman. I'm a concept designer at Pitch Dev Studios. I do just about anything that needs to get done. David's the captain of the ship. You know, if this was the Delaware, George Washington, that's the front. That is David Levy, and I'm the guy next to him holding the flag. Someone has to do it, right?
Did the Delaware sink or not? I don't know.
No, it made it right across. Yes.
So, Antonio, sorry, I didn't let you introduce yourself. Do you want to introduce yourself, Antonio?
I can try. Actually, I'm a concept artist and illustrator. I'm working with several companies around the world, in Italy, in USA, in French. I'm working around movies, video games. It's my life. I'm drawing, actually.
Yep, exactly. So I think that's the 3 of us. And of course, I don't want to forget behind us, behind Yariv, the master of ceremony today is going to be Chris. Hi, Chris, over there in the background.
Yeah.
Hello.
Wizard of Oz here.
Hi, Chris.
Unfortunately, my stupid camera's going. Okay.
So, Yariv, do you want to help me explain a little bit what Rogue Rascal is about? Hello, Yariv. Is the control room still there or not? I think we may have lost the control room. Control room, can you hear us? I guess it's just you and I now. Oh, Yariv is back. Okay.
It's a little dark. Sorry about that.
Yariv, do you want to start talking about what this demo is about, Rogue Rascal?
Sure. So this idea came from a thought that I had. I really enjoy Westerns. Now, now I know you guys, today we don't see a lot of Westerns in films, but Star Wars is a Western, for example. So I wanted to combine two genres. I wanted to combine the genre of sci-fi and Westerns and put them together in some sort of a quick 2-pager that we can do it, like a tale of two pages. And I had the idea of having these characters on this planet, and instead of actually, drinking beer and everything like that, keeping in mind that we're in the current pandemic, global health crisis, I had the idea that they'd be sucking on these respirators that would have alcohol that would be put into sort of a inhaler that they could just inhale in the alcohol. They never have to take off their gas masks. So, this came from the feeling that I had of whenever I had to leave my house for most of the last year, I was the Winter Soldier. No kidding. I had the mask on and everything, like everybody else, and it was very uncomfortable. But, I decided to put that into the character. So these guys are these drunk rascals. They're on their search for loot, and we'll have to see how the story plays out. But do you want to show the script? We can go to panel 4.
Yeah, I think one of the elements that we need to talk about, because that's kind of the key as well of this presentation, is that so I'm not sure exactly, did you contact Magma, or did Magma contact you, or how it came pretty naturally, actually?
So yeah, what happened was that I reached out to Magma because I was interested in a collaborative painting software that I wanted to check out. So they demoed it for me, and it was really cool, and I really enjoyed it. And I had some ideas for some, development that they could be doing. And they're like, cool, let's work together. And so I brought it into my day job and said, let's just do it together, at Pitch Dev. And so together we pulled these ideas of some of the features that you guys are going to see. Some of them are just a straight feature. Other ones are a bit more fine tuning of the application. But, good news is there'll be more to come, God willing, after this presentation is over. And you guys, the users will benefit from this. So this will be very exciting.
So yeah, and I think the first thing that when we talked with Yariv and Magma basically told us, guys, we know your company create great content. What kind of tools would you want to see? And there are tools that we're going to talk about, but the first tool that for us was really important is the custom shape tool. The custom shape tool is like this tool that has been used in Photoshop for a long time, but it has not been evolved. For example. Where there are limitations, very simple limitations. And we asked Magma, we say, hey guys, can you do a custom shape inside your software and that we can flip in all directions and things like that? And each time they're like, yeah, sure. We're like, okay. And so that's hopefully what we're going to demonstrate to you. And just to say that, working with them was extremely easy on that side. It was like suddenly
big shout out,
someone was listening to us.
Boys.
So, yeah.
Big shout out to the boys of Rush, Radek, and Wojtek over there at Magma Studio at Code Charm. These guys work really hard, and they've done an amazing job this whole Lightbox Expo. I've been hearing lots of amazing things that people have been saying who've been painting in the painting jams that they've had on Discord. I haven't got to partake in that, but I heard it was really great. So, hats off to these guys.
So when it comes to the story, so Yariv wrote a first pass, then I added my comments and things like that, because this is how we usually work. And then I was thinking, okay, well, I'm okay artist, I'm not a comic book artist on a daily basis at all. I was thinking, well, who can we get on this demo to help us with that? And of course, my first thought was Antonio. He's our great concept guy for characters. And it was very interesting to see how 3 people can work in the same document. If you want to show, maybe, can we show a little bit how the images are at the bottom in Magma? I don't know if it's possible or not. Yeah, here we go.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and that just shows a little bit like the great things that we have one file, and in that file we have a bunch of images, and we can share all those images, and we can work on each other's images and things like that. So, so maybe, do you want to talk about the script, or do you want to jump right into it and talk about?
I'd like to talk a little bit about the script because it's kind of important. So, as I said before, you got 2 cowboys. They're adorning these gas masks. They're sitting in this desert town saloon, hooking up hydration cords to beer kegs. And the guy on the left turns to the one on the right and says, I reckon we're the last two folks on this planet. The other guy responds, you remind me every time we drink. Let's go scouting again tonight. So these guys get totally smashed. And they go out on their hover bikes, right?
We do not advise people to do that at home, by the way.
No, but yeah, that's right. I mean, I guess, we should have had a sign. Maybe we'll put a sign in there, don't hover bike and, don't drink and hover bike. I don't know what we can do here, but it's so both guys hop on their hover cycles and go drunk scouting. And one of them has a guitar on his back and he starts playing it. And one of them, we view their rides kind of towards this desert scene with the moon that's half broken lights up the cactuses and the scrap metal from wrecked spaceships of yesterday. And one of the guys in a drunken speech says, "You think we'll catch them tonight?" The other guy responds, "I'm smelling some of them on the horizon and I'm feeling great." So they reach this abandoned structure far in the desert, Hollyborg City, and the two men still drunk. He goes, "They wiped out 5 banks already. These rusted devils." Yeah. The other guy says, They won't last long." He loads his gun, right? So the two men stand above this structure looking down into this dark expanse. They see this menacing, half-human robot death-looking character with a Sith as a weapon and a small rifle and a chest and, of course, loot, gold at his feet. The one guy says, "I don't think I'm drunk enough for this," in a trembling tone. And the guy says, "What are you talking about? It took us 2 months. It took us months to find this guy. No going back." The second guy just jumps into this pit, and the Grim Reaper shoots at them. But unexpectedly to them, he has a Gatling cannon.
So what's very interesting about when we got the script and we worked on the script, modified the script, this was very specifically for this demo. And what was interesting is that so Yariv did the storyboard as well. I mean, I think we can start showing the storyboard and stuff like that.
Sure.
He did maybe originally. And what happened? These are the character design, by the way, that Antonio did for us. He did that very quickly, and it was very nice of him to take the time to do those 3 characters. So Yariv did the storyboard. And what's interesting is to see how, because the 3 of us have different, first of all, abilities. No, I'm not as good as a character artist as Antonio, and other artists may not be as good as an environment artist or as others and things like that. So we approach frames in a very different manner. When I have frames with characters, I approach them, I get flatter because I'm not as good as doing them in perspective. And when it comes to environment, it's the opposite. I feel more comfortable with environment, so I tend to push them very strongly in perspective, as opposed to make them flat. So, and if we want to, can we show the first page? Chris? Yeah, the very first page. Yeah. So this page was done based on the script, where I felt like we needed some kind of introduction of the world before we jumped right into the bar with them. So and that's a great thing that I will demonstrate with the tools, is that these frames were done so fast using the tools with Magma that, I mean, I was almost giggling when I was doing them. And that's something that with other software would have been impossible. So, and I can't wait. I'm very excited to show it. But anyway, so those pages are kind of introducing the world, the atmosphere, the universe, a very desolate landscape, and then one bubble at the bottom where the dialogues is start to talk. So so we can go to the first, the next page. So here we go. Can we put it full screen for everybody to really appreciate, especially the storyboard work from Yariv and Antonio? I mean, so Yariv did the first pass of the storyboard. Then Antonio, who is our character king, jumped in there and just blew all of us away with his posing and perspective and depth. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you approach characters and perspective, Antonio?
Actually, in the comics, I try to find the right line of action, because acting is really important in comics. When I approach to character design, I think different levels of working. I'm thinking about shapes. I'm thinking about anatomy, body language, or costumes, language. There are a lot of things when I approach to characters.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
When
Sorry,
I saw your characters, the first thing I thought about were spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
I love
Actually, that's exactly what I had in mind. You know, the one, you know, some of the ideas of like, you know, you have like a Laurel and Hardy type of situation where you got the big man, small guy, and you know, just kind of offset each other's silhouettes. And I thought it would be really cool, so I told Antonio that's what I really want, and he did it. Like that's exactly what I saw in my head. You know, it's great.
I thought that was awesome. That's the first thing I thought about when I saw those characters. I was very excited. So anyway, so you would say that's how you approach your framing, which is the posing, the acting, and the
composition as well.
The composition, yeah.
I'm trying to balance the black and the light on the page. I started with comics, but I lose the wrappers.
Of course. Yes, totally makes sense. I mean, for me, when it comes to black and white balance, I mean, my big hero is Mike Mignola. I mean, I think for me, in terms of composition, he's just the king. You know, so a lot of the stuff I do in black and white would be inspired by Mike Mignola. You know, I don't know about you, Yari. What's your comic books?
I'm a Jim Lee guy, you know, because Jim Lee never really did all that stuff, but I was always a Jim Lee fan. And, you know, a really good question that I guess the audience should be asking is, why is comic book one word up at the top here? The reason is because Stan Lee says it's one word. If you see it as the word comic books, two separate words, it means a funny book, right? Adjective, noun. But he writes it as one book. It was one word, so it actually appears to mean that this is a comic book. This is a noun describing this thing. I thought it was really cool. So answer your question. I was a big fan of this artist. I forget what his name was. Joe Madureira. He drew Deadpool, and I thought it was really. He always hide everything in the shadows. So it was always kind of suggested forms. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So I mean, Antonio, do you want to do a character sketch and you want to talk about it, or do you feel like drawing right away, or do you want me to do an environment while you talk about characters? Whatever you prefer.
You want.
I say we follow the script, David.
Okay. I'm not very good at that. It's usually not what I do.
All right, so we're going to dive into this thing, and you guys are going to just chill out. You guys can shoot questions to us in the chat. While we're drawing for the next about, I'd say 3 or 4 minutes before David goes ahead and does a demo. We got a great show for you guys this evening. Okay, let's dive in. I'll be keeping my right eye on the chat. Okay,
so where do you want to jump in? What's the next?
We're jumping in the pages 2 and 3, of the demo comic book template.
Great.
You know, the one with everybody where we.
So that's where we are.
Yeah.
So the main pages.
The main pages, yeah.
Okay. So do you want to talk about these, or do you want us to draw on this, or what do you?
I want to draw. I think we should all just draw, chill out a bit. I'll keep my eye on the questions. If there's anything coming through, I'll let you guys know.
So Antonio, do you know what you're going to work on, or because I've done my frames and I feel like I don't want to hurt anybody else's drawings. I feel very respectful.
Well, we're all going to be doing this frame down over here. I imagined Antonio would be taking the characters off our back, and then I guess David, you'd be working around the page, art directing us, telling us, don't do this, do that sort of a thing.
Honestly, I mean, knowing you guys, I don't think I'm going to have much to say. So.
Okay, cool.
So maybe,
you want to put in some of the balloons for the people?
Yeah, I can do that. Here we go. So the thing that's great about Magma is that can you show the little pages underneath again?
Sure.
The little pages, no, the little pages that are underneath the
hit
the
tab.
ComicBook page.
Yeah.
The tab. So here we go. So I don't know if you guys can see underneath, but there's like a one page that has text, and that's super useful because you can just create those texts in any other software like Illustrator, and it's a PNG. I just dumped it into the file, and it just created a new window for it. And what you do is that you can even copy and paste. Let's say you're using Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever. You can copy and paste from another software inside Magma directly. So I found it extremely fast. Like, for example, to add text, I'm going to use one of the great custom shapes that we've created for you. So if you look on the right in the custom shapes, well, I can't show you because someone else is doing the demo, but we have like a whole bank of custom shapes. Do you want to show the custom shapes, Yariv, maybe?
Yeah, sure. I'll step over here. Okay. So
okay, got it.
Let's go back to Magma over here. All right, so what we're going to do is hit tab for a second. Is that me? Okay, cool. So over here, you're going to see the custom shape tool, and let's just bring it out. So over here is the custom shape. We'll come over here, make sure you're on full mode, and over here will be these shapes. Don't know why it's showing me like this. You know what? I think we can probably.
Well, if you guys, I mean, on your side, here we go. So you see all here on the right, you see all the custom shapes that we can use in order to do the paintings that we're doing. So, for example, I'm going to take a bubble shape. I'm going to take it. I'm going to add it as a stroke, as opposed to a fill, and I'm going to show. Here we go. Here in the middle, you see what that would give. So I'm going to undo this. You see the text is here. I'm going to create a new layer. Oh, actually, I have a layer with bubbles already. I'm going to go on the layer with bubbles, and I'm going to add a new bubble here. And the great thing is that in Photoshop, you're limited to the direction with which you can go with your custom shape, but not here. In Magma, I can just turn around the other way, and then it will create the bubble the other way. So this is huge because with custom shapes now, I have the freedom to go up, down, side. It doesn't matter. You know, you have 4 directions of axis to do your custom shapes as opposed to just one. And then I'm going to use my color filler, my bucket. I'm going to use white. I'm going to fill it. Then I'm going to take my text. What does it say at that point? It says, I'm going to check the script. In the script, it says, what does it say? I'm smelling some of them on the horizon. Okay, I'm going to use that. Where is it? There we go. I have the text. I'm going to copy and paste it from the PNG. There we go. And I'm going to take the text. I'm going to move it. Shift-T to modify it. Scale it down. Yeah, he seems pretty happy. That's good. The other guy's making some music. He's singing. What is he singing, Antonio?
Under the shower.
I didn't say, where are you singing? I don't want to know you're singing in the shower. He said, what is he singing?
Depends.
So, is he singing, I don't know. I don't have any idea. I'm going to make a bubble for him as well. So to do that bubble, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bubbles that are on the other ones, and I'm going to copy and paste it. Maybe I'm going to take one of the left one. C, Control V, V. There we go. And what is that guy saying? That guy is saying, you think we'll catch them tonight? Okay, I'm going to copy and paste this. I just find that amazing that all of us are working directly on the same software. And I mean, I just found that amazing. It just makes, especially in those times where we are kind of stuck at home more, just makes it so much more fun. Here we go.
Oh, he's over here. Yeah.
I mean, because right now there's no other software with which you can just work 3 people. The producer, the writer, even the script writer could go in there and jump in and write, like change the lines and things like that. It's just very, very nice to be able to do that.
I really wanted a program like this for a very long time. I just found that the main people out there making apps these days they weren't interested in this because maybe there isn't so much. Maybe the idea that there isn't so much demand, but I highly doubt that, because what I really enjoyed is the fact that you had this sequencer at the bottom, and I could go off and design something, and I could literally see how it's going to fit into what Antonio drew. And it was really, really convenient for me to have that. They are talking about doing some more asynchronous workflows where you'll be able to, work offline and kind of bring in your work. That's kind of a necessary thing because some people like to work that way. But as a review tool and as a brainstorming tool, there's nothing that tops this right now. There's nothing out there that exists that can do this. There's some great features coming up. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some great shapes that this one cool designer helped us out with?
Oh, you're talking to me, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking about Scott Robertson, correct?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, Scott was very, very nice of him. It was very nice of him for us to because as Pitch Dev and Scott Robertson, we all gave away custom shapes that are going to be free for you to use using Magma. So if you guys have Magma, I think today they're going to release all those shapes, and anybody will be able to do illustrations using those shapes. So Scott Robertson did a bunch of characters that I'll be demoing after. We did a bunch of...
Why don't you go ahead and break away now? Him and I draw this frame. Just go ahead and break away to a new scene. And,
sure, yeah. I thought that'd be a great thing to do. Cool. So this is an example of a shot I did using the custom brushes. So I'm gonna remove all those layers. I'm gonna create a new, basically. There you go. Making all these layers invisible. And as I go, you'll be able to ask questions anytime, So here we go. So I'm going to remove the text. And a new layer. Move the layer up. And I wish you could see the tools that I'm using, but that would have been nice. But I don't think I can share my screen. So. OK. So I'm going to use the custom shapes. And in the custom shapes, there's no way for me to share my screen now, because I guess people cannot see what I'm doing.
You can technically. What you want to do is in the program that we're using to stream, go into click on share. You see that? The bottom is the share. And share your desktop.
Share screen.
And the director over here will put you in when he sees your share in there. So a little request from myself for the audience. While we're setting this up, can you guys just write in the chat and tell us where you guys are all from? I'd like to know, because I was at Lightbox in 2019 presenting. People from all over the world were there. I just want to know who's coming in from different parts of the world to see our demo today.
OK, I'm sharing my screen. Here we go.
Go ahead.
I guess, yeah, great. That's awesome. OK.
Great.
So I'm going to start with a frame, a comic book frame that we have on the side here. I'm going to start with a black. I'm going to do it as a stroke. I'm going to do a page, see what happens. There we go. So right away, in 2 seconds, I can have like a comic book frame that's available. Then I'm going to fill the dark part with white so that I have some opacity. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to test it, See if it works fine. Yay! So now you see, I have already my comic book frames that are done. And I'm going to start. I don't know exactly what story I'm going to tell here. I mean, hopefully it's going to be in the same vein as the Rogue Rascal stuff. So I'm going to start with an environment. Here you see we have those characters from Scott Robertson. We have the environments from us at Pitch Dev. So I'm going to start with an environment, maybe a mountain. And right away you can see, I mean, the speed at which we can create frames. You know, it's pretty cool. I can try another one. I'm gonna try this one because I really like it. What's great is that those custom shapes are non-destructive, meaning that they are the way they were created. They're using paths, you know, and then which means that they are. When you use them, it doesn't matter what scale you use them; they will always look perfectly sharp. The other custom shape I'm going to use is the cloud. There you go. And because I have those white masks, I can go from one frame to another without bothering that frame. Actually, I may even use that. You know, that may work. You know, so I'm going to do another layer for the clouds, so that I can control this better. There you go. I'm going to erase the clouds here in the back.
David, show them the trick I showed you.
Which trick?
The
I would. I mean, because I haven't practiced it, I don't think it'd be.
Okay.
I think it'd be a failure for me to do it. But the thing that I want to show that's super important is, let's say I use a very clear shape that has one direction. So you see this shape. If I click and drag the other way, it's going to do this. If I click and drag the other way, it's going to do this. If I click and drag and do this, there's no other software right now that does that. And this is so powerful because it means that you can use custom shapes really in a way that's much more logical. Let's say I have birds to put into my environment, you know, like this. I can do this. I can put them upside down if I want to. And this is like a huge freedom in terms of choosing on the fly what you want to do. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to add more birds in the back. There you go. And I have 2 frames, you know, and I'm going to keep going, you know. I'm going to use one of those characters from Scott Robertson. Let me see. Here's the environment. I'm going to do this. Maybe I'm going to add a path that goes all the way up that hill. And this time I use the custom shape, but in white as opposed to use it in black. So that gives me like a highlight as opposed to a shadow. And then I'm going to use where is that character? Here we go. I really like that character that he did, this one. I put on a new layer again. Oops, it's in white, so I'm going to put it in black. There you go. Nice. Perfect. Then I'm going to add the clouds on the clouds layer that I created. But it just making, I mean, and of course, I mean, Antonio is a much better character artist than I am, that I will ever be. But even for someone like me who's not necessarily a character designer, it makes for really a great way to have fun and tell stories in the most like comfortable way, you know. So I've done a lot of those environment custom shapes, and I try to make them where they can be used in a very different manner depending on people, so that they're not too specific either, you know. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. And I have also one that I like a lot. It's like an action shape window. So just to add a little bit of dynamism into your scene. And then I can delete whatever blows to the side. So the question is, where do you get all the Scott Robertson shapes from? So anybody, Colleen is asking that question. Anybody that has Magma will be able to have those shapes. Anyone who has Magma will be able to use those. I hope that answers your question. And here, I'm going to do something else. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, more than welcome to ask them. And if you guys want to show something on the other screens that you're doing, the other comic book, I mean, I can do that too. Whatever.
Sure. Why don't we do this? Why don't we come back and draw some stuff together a little bit?
For sure.
And then what I'll do is we'll go ahead and let Antonio do some demoing on some characters because his work is great. I'm drawing backgrounds for him, so he's really happy today. I get to draw his backgrounds.
Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. Can we zoom in on Antonio's sketch?
Sure.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. I love this. Yeah, if we can put full screen just so people can appreciate the sketch. Antonio.
I'm drawing the backgrounds. So I get some credit.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. I have an idea. How about Antonio does the whole comic book?
I second that. It's called Make Art Button. David, can we get some love on those hover bikes for the next 12 minutes or so?
Yeah.
And what I like to do is I like to do some bubbles.
Yeah.
We get that. I want to do some sound effects in there too today if we can. That would be really cool. So let's see the chat here. This app is Magma Studio, Detective Chick. Yeah, thank you. That's so cool. California. I was raised in California. Let's see here.
It's just so cool that we are able to draw all together
it's
like
just
that.
fun. I'm having a great time. You know, I mean, that's something that a lot of people take for granted is that when you're drawing alone, it is kind of interesting that you get these kind of you're all on your own, no one's bothering you or whatever, but all of a sudden you collaborate and it just turns a whole different part of your brain. So it's really fun. I do enjoy it.
Especially in those days, where we can't necessarily always work from our offices, and there's limitations on that side. To just be able to sketch together, or even let's say you're on a project and you want to give comments, feedback on something and discuss, and you can also talk, using the apps, and you can chat using. Oh, there was a weird noise. What was the noise?
We have a chat built into the Magma Studio.
Got it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's an icon there. You guys will notice the bottom right. There's a phone icon and a chat icon. It is kind of cool because on Friday, I was I was in the studio. I had my iPad, and I was in the park and I was sketching, and in Magma. And all of a sudden, Antonio jumps on and go, "Hey, Antonio!" So we jumped on together and we started designing the characters. It was really cool to be able to connect like that. It was really kind of a fun thing. It was unexpected too.
Yeah, I had the same reaction. When I was sketching, and someone just jumped in to say hi. I'm so used to be in my own world when I do those. When I do my work, that I'm not used to have someone jumping in and saying hi, chatting. It was very cool. It made me feel really less lonely, I guess.
To answer the question in the chat, yeah, they are pre-built shapes. Right now, that's the way that the system works, because just like with the brushes, you guys will notice, the brushes are right now just standard. And again, down the line, you guys will be able to do other things as they add features that will allow people, I assume, to customize their experience more. So I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, this was right now. I mean, that's what we can do, because those custom shapes were just added, literally just a few weeks ago. So right now they are pre-built, but in the future, I'm sure that things will change on that side.
And they were built very fast and very efficiently, I must say, because I sent him a sketch. I'm like, this is what the interface should look like, and he just did it. It was great. I think that it draws much faster than Photoshop too. It's dealing with a lot less So it's just going to just put it to the canvas much quicker, much more complicated.
Well, I think one of the elements you talked about as well is that you use your iPad to sketch on it, correct?
Oh, I use them both. Yeah, I'm going to be demoing on my iPad later on for you guys, showing you guys how it's a little bit of a different experience. You don't get a hovering cursor, but you do have a lot of other kinds of things at your disposal as well, which we'll be showing.
Antonio, I love your characters. Oh my God, it's so cool.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Oh man, it's like watching magic happen, you know?
Thank you.
So I have a question for you, Antonio.
Tell me.
I mean, since you're Italian, I'm gonna have to ask you: do you know Davy 504?
Have you
heard Davy 504? Have you ever heard of him? He's a bass player. He's an Italian bass player.
I don't know. I don't know him.
He's a superstar on YouTube. I'm a big fan. So I'll ask you. Anyway, sorry, that was totally inappropriately out of this demo question, but I had to ask. I highly recommend. So how do you think in terms of lighting, Antonio, when you do those dark shadows and things like that? What's your thought process?
My thought about lighting it depends the mood I would like to have in the picture. So in this case, I'm trying to put more drama. So I have the vertical light in the eye contrast on the character. Then there is a lot of shadow under the face. I will put more shadow on the body.
Of course,
I think it will be useful to have a good drama mood. I emotional.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And it's great because, I mean, looking at his style, I think it forces us to align to the look, of the images that we do, Yari and I do. I mean, he's obviously really, literally, better than us as a character artist. So for us, I know that for me, it's really inspiring and it really pushes me to see the way he shades things, making sure that I follow the similar shapes, that I can adjust the frames I'm doing to the style that he's doing as well. What's your take on that, Yari?
The way that I see it is when you're doing a comic book, like if just your standard, before you put on your lighting, your standard comic book is your ambient occlusion pass, if you think about 3D rendering. And that's the places that the light won't go, like the little crevices and things of that nature. And then your lighting pass, a really good book for this that I had from several years ago, I want to say 2010, was released by Marco Mister, I think his name is, and it's called Framed Drawing Techniques. It's amazing. He actually shows you how to simplify these two-tone, you take your value scale and just crush it down to 2 tones. It's really cool. It's a lot like drawing with an ink pen. Yeah. That's my take.
Makes sense.
Cool.
Oh, that's great. Magma Studio jumped into the discussion as well.
Oh, that's
great.
Great.
If you guys have any questions for Magma, go ahead.
thinking, is that working? Oops, sorry.
Oops.
That was
that scared me. Oh my goodness.
That was a feature I was trying to use, but
really
it's just too much information for it to handle. I was looking for it to do it to fill the active shapes, but it's fine. I'll just fill them in.
I'm going to revert for 1 second to the other frames I've been doing. I'm just going to add a little bit of colors just to show as well that we can color frames, you know. Yeah, I'm going to take a frame and color it. So this to this. This. Oops. Shapes. Some white shapes, maybe. I'm going to try this, see if that works. That's interesting. That's not what I'm after. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm using, I colored the frame and then I'm using custom shapes to dig in some light in there. So let's see if that works. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Just to show that we don't have to use it only for dark stuff, you know. And what you can do as well is you can put like a base here, you know, or like even like something like a rock base like that, like the one I've used, like this, and then you can come back on top of it with some brighter colors. Something maybe that's more obvious. And you can draw on top of it, of course. Some clouds. Can add some white clouds, just to add a little more depth. Oh, my face. I got scared by my face. Maybe some clouds in the foreground.
David, what layer are you drawing the those bikes on? There's no like layer selector, so I'm just curious. Is it layer 27?
Let me check. I'm gonna go back to this.
Sorry, you guys. Should
That's
ask
good.
real quick.
I'm doing those on layer 20, I think.
Layer 20. Okay.
Maybe not. Layer 27.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, layer 27. Yeah. But yeah, so that just shows you like a way. If I select this layer, I stay on the same layer. I select this frame. I'm going to fill it as a multiply layer as well. Maybe something that's more dynamic, like a red. Oops. Go there. Just so that we have something more punchy. And I can even now use the airbrush on top of it. Select orange. Something very punchy. And then I can still use the white, you know, especially with the custom shapes. If I take like a rock custom shape. This is yellow, actually. But if I use the white, it's going to create like some really stark highlights. You know. Or if I use blue, maybe it's going to feel like maybe that blue here. It's going to feel like there's a mix of light. And it's just such a new way of working. It's just so exciting. You know. That's all I wanted to show. If you want to read back in the comic book, it's great because we'll see the advance that would have been done. That's excellent. I love the way Antonio used the custom shape in the background just to create depth and perspective with the gray where the guy is jumping and screaming.
I did that.
Oh, you did that? Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought it was Antonio. I'm sorry, guys.
Antonio told me he didn't want any backgrounds on this, so I said, "Fine, I got you covered."
I don't mean to steal your thunder. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, flag bearer, right? You know what I'd like to do, David? Let's do a clouds demo over here on the page behind your guys. When you're doing clouds in just two tones, do you want to just use the half tones to define the clouds, or you want to pick the ones that are closer to us just a bit darker, and then the ones further away?
It's really up to you. I mean, I like the half tones because it creates a style, a look.
Okay.
I just find that nice. It just creates a different vibe. When you use the half tones.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is asking if there's a way to bring back exporting layered PSDs to the free account. I don't know. That's something that Magma could answer that. I'm not sure. I'm going to keep working on the bubbles as well. Because I don't know, I find that super motivating to see the text appearing, Where is it still?
In a comic book, though, you're going to do your text first.
I don't know. I'm going to show my. Actually, in the I worked on the comic book for Assassin's Creed, and they told me the text, so I created bubbles. And then someone took care of them. There's someone that just does the lettering, and in that sense, it was done towards the end more than the beginning. I had the script to work with, but the text was done at the end. So it depends, I think. Depends on the type of project. They won't last long. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, I have that.
How are we doing for time?
Oh, we should move on to Antonio.
Okay. Antonio, you're up. Center stage.
Do you want us to ask, does anybody has questions for Antonio? Or Antonio, you can just start on your own.
Page 9 for Antonio.
Page 9 for Antonio.
Okay. I just start a character just for fun, just to try the program. It's really simple. I try to do what I do normally with Photoshop. It's really simple. I can try to do something. Normally, when when I start, when I try to make an idea, I start with a shape.
I hear a baby. I don't know where I put my bubbles. Can't remember the layer. Oh, here. So you start usually like that, where you start first with like an overall silhouette using like a medium gray type shape.
Sorry?
So usually you would start like that with like a
Yeah.
medium gray color and a
But
volume.
It
It changes.
not really important. The color of the start. I can use normally half tone could be cool because you can change the tone. You can make interior shapes live.
For sure. Yeah, when you start with
It
a
is
half tone, you can go bright and dark.
Yeah.
Correct?
Sometimes I do this directly with color. It's just the first approach to the design. I use the line just at the middle of the design.
Say it again. Oh, and then you start the lines. Then you start the lines.
Yeah.
So it's really, first of all, you're really trying to define those shapes, those big, wide shapes, and then you're trying to cut into those shapes with either bright or darks. And then the line gives you more of the details.
Because
Oh, I hear the little one. Is that your little one, Antonio?
Sorry?
Is that your little one? I hear a baby.
I have a friend in the room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's out. It's out, baby. From neighbors.
So now we're in drawing mode, so we're very quiet. If anybody has any question, you guys can ask us. Yarif, do you have any questions for Antonio? Or?
One of the things that I think people find the most challenging is they put, their ability to draw before their ability to design. And I always felt that unless you have a purpose for actually creating something, approaching it from a technical level first is not always the best idea. Antonio, do you actually start, when you think about these things in your head, do you actually do more of your process in your head, or do you let it happen on the paper?
I think it's a dialogue with what I draw. I can start with an idea in changing the drawing when I draw. Actually, it's a process. Sorry, my English is horrible.
No, it's okay.
That's
No, we
fine.
understand everything. We
Okay.
understand everything. Oh, also, we wanted to mention that we're gonna all the text that we're using and the speech bubbles, and the sound effects that we have. We have a bank of image sound effects. They'll be for free on our Gumroad. So later down the time, we'll share that with you guys. But that's
Yeah,
something
we'll put
that
it
you
there.
guys can experiment with. With Magma and those free elements. You can do your own comic book, and we'd be very happy to see what you guys come up with. So I'm going to put, guys, I'm going to put the bubbles and all the sound effects in the same layers, okay? Just to
Okay,
make
cool. I was thinking that once we're done with Antonio's big splash there, when I do my demo, he'll work on that. All three of us will tackle the last frame that I left for everybody, and then we'll maybe do something special at the end of the show. We'll see how much time we got. So cool. And hit up these bikes. Slam.
I mean, ideally here I would have had like a click more than a slam, but for this demo that'll do.
I think so.
We'll say it's a very strange gun that makes a lot of noise. Slam!
Whoosh.
So all these elements that I'm adding, you guys will be able to use. We'll give the link to the Gumroad, and we'd love to see what you guys come up with those custom shapes and those elements that we have. Feel free to experiment and do whatever you want.
I think the first time I ever saw somebody use shapes in a demo, like in Photoshop, was John Park did it in one of his Gumroad tutorials. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I asked him, can I have those shapes? He's like, sure, here you go. And it was really interesting to see how fast you can actually get things going with shapes. What it kind of makes me think of is 3D in a way. How today, if you guys would go and just type into Kit Bash or anything like that into YouTube, Kit Bash in 3D, you'll see people just slamming down objects left and right because they just want to tell a story and a narrative. And it's really great today that you have really great high assets that you can purchase and buy, whether they're 2D assets or 3D assets. So it's all about telling that story. And I think that in the future, it'll be less technical about the tool and more about, you know, what each of us has to express as artists and designers.
I agree, and that's what I love about like these custom shapes here in Magma is that, even though some of us may be limited on the character side or whatever, we're still able to tell stories, you know. And I think that's so interesting and so new, you know. We can, with those tools, we can easily tell a story, you know. And then we get inspired when working with people like Antonio, like, oh yeah, well, I obviously need to up my character game, you know, and it's just excellent, you know. I just love using those tools.
David, you can
Yep.
check out the bikes. You can actually use some of those shapes to like put in some really slick details on the bike.
Oh, that's awesome. I love what you
Like
do.
adding headlights.
This is great.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and then you can make them glow. Actually, you can use a soft brush, and because you don't really have it needed to color dodge anything, you can just turn up the density, put that pressure slider on, and then you can just press it down enough times. Hopefully, I can get something out of it, and then I can shrink down my brush size. Actually, it's going to be a little bit hard, so I'm just going to leave it like that. My hat's off to the people at Lightbox for creating an expo during this time. It's so wonderful and so great that you got artists like Bobby Chu that care so much, and my hat's off to him for doing such a wonderful job with this year's expo. They've been very helpful to us in putting this talk together, giving us everything that we needed. So it was really, 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 really wonderful to work with those people.
That's been really great.
I want to erase this.
I'm trying to consolidate the text and the bubbles so that I can put the bubbles on top of the drawings, just so you guys know what I'm doing. So I'm trying to reorganize a little bit a few things. It's so cool.
So Colin Desmond asked, do you look for references and then design, or design first and then look at references after the initial sketch to solidify the look? I'm not sure if that question is directed towards Antonio. I also think I asked earlier in the chat, but how do you approach the layout of your comic book paneling? Okay, David, your permission? I'll go ahead and do some demoing.
Please go ahead, of course.
All right, you guys, cool. All right, so I started with some boxes, because everybody likes boxes. Let me just hide my shapes here. So, good question. Again, there's a great book that I'm going to be promoting for the sake of this talk, which is Framed Ink 2. You guys want to go pick that up today? I believe I think it's a 20 or 25% off demo. I don't know. But you guys can go over to Design Studio Press's booth at Lightbox and check out what they got and pick up a copy of this book. It did teach me a lot. I bought Framed Ink 1 and I still carry it. I have one copy here in the studio and I have one at home because it's really helpful with all the great advice that he gave. But in essence, let's see here. Okay, so where you put a square on a page means something, right? You're going to put a square dead center. It's going to actually create balance and equilibrium, right? You're going to put it slightly off center. It's going to create another sort of feeling. You're going to put it towards the edge. You're going to create a whole different sort of feeling of tension. You know, when something goes completely off the edge, obviously it attracts our attention, right? If you put something in the opposite corner, again, you're gonna get tension, the way that things get closer to the edge of things. You have a concept called compression and area of release. So in this example that we did over here, let me just build this out like this. So we're going to have an area of tension. Here, so let me just draw it in as a white circle first, so you guys get that idea here. Oops. Okay, we'll draw it in as a white circle in gray. I'm not going to see it. Okay. I'm just going to put this gray background here. Fade it a little bit so we can still see the frame. And drop in my white circle and drop in my black square. All right, so perfect balance, right? And then you got over here right? You got over here the area of compression, right? This is the area that's going to be compressed. And then this is the area that's going to be released, right? I'll just go ahead and draw these to make it just a little bit faster. So we got the area of compression, the area of release. Same thing over here. And even when the format changes, you know, some people only want to draw in the 2351 format or the 16:9 format, the 185. Today, smartphones have changed our industry like crazy because people are looking at these devices that are sometimes completely vertical. That shouldn't make a difference whatsoever. So you can put this thing in a square, you know, in a square format right in the center, like an Instagram format. You can set this thing up at the top there. That's causing all this squeezing. Same thing over here. So this is just a basic example. Now I'll do one a little bit more complicated. These formats that we're dealing with, let me just clear this layer here. The formats that we're dealing with these days are, you know, you got your 1:5:5 ratio, your 2:3:5:1, then you got your smartphone ratio, which is just like 1:8:5 tilted, and then you got your, I guess, what do they call that new device that actually folds by Samsung or Huawei or whatever the device is. So those are like the formats that we see today. Very straightforward. Let's do, let's do a little bit more of a fun demo here. Okay, turning off some layers. Okay. Okay, so, all right, let me get this set up. Okay, cool. So, here's our classic 2:3:5:1 format. So here, we can simply just think about, okay, where, you know, if this thing was divided up into thirds, where are we going to, what kind of story do we want to tell? What kind of story lends itself to this sort of a setup? Well, we could put our subjects right on the thirds, right, like a lot of people do, or we can kind of offset it. We can put a point over here and a point over there. So let's go ahead and just do that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my shapes over here. I'm going to choose which one this is. Let's go ahead and grab in the mountaintops. I like that one a lot. Okay. This is cool. See, you can kind of just drop it into place. I sometimes will go ahead and I will drop it onto a layer like this, and I will hit Shift-T and I will transform it into place. There's no flipping option currently in Magma. You're just going to have to kind of transform and move it around till it fits. But hopefully, you know, in the future, there might be some transforms on the horizon. I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely could use a good set of transforms. And a lasso fill, if anyone out there can help. I'm kidding. No, God willing, we'll see some stuff in the future. Okay, let's draw in a quick set of rocks here. And let's indicate some water. So we're just going to go grab our water shape. Here's our structure over here. Some sort of a horizon we're going to put over here. And I think it would be really cool. We're going to drag in a water shape. So you can drag it in like this. Now the other way that I kind of use these shapes, I'm just going to demo this. I'll use like a color like gold here. What I do is I draw in a filled shape like this. I create a layer above it and I clip it to that layer. Now when I'm dragging my shapes in, right, I'm actually getting that clip to happen automatically, right? There's that automatic clip that happens and I don't have to worry about erasing anything. I can just lay down stuff. So that's really fun. What's the other one over here? Okay, let's throw in some characters. So let's come back over here. Let's erase some areas out over here like this. And let's add in some characters. So this scene needs is some birds. All right. You can hold down Shift, by the way, to drag them out proportionally. So that's kind of cool. So that's one way to do it. Let's try to do the same thing in a 185. So vertical 185. Everyone fears the vertical formats, but when I'm setting these things up, I'm thinking in my head, okay, where is the point of tension, point of release? So I want the point of tension over here. Point of release is somewhere around there. You got to think about it like a rubber band, right? If you have 2 points and it's a really tight line of tension, that's one way to think about it, or it can be very loose. Dylan Cole taught me to actually make the thing kind of meander around. So you have elements that point at each other. You have like something that brings your eye up over and down. So let's try to do something like that. Let's start with the character this time. Maybe we'll figure out what kind of goes on after the fact. Okay. So
is it okay if I answer one of the questions that just
sure,
been asked?
Whatever you want.
Callan is asking, how do you approach the layout of your comic paneling? So I would say that
the paneling.
Yeah, so when it comes to the paneling, I would say that it really depends on the script and the way you turn the page, and depending on how much drama you want to add from one page to another. So for example, let's say that the story starts quietly and then suddenly someone's enter a room with a knife, okay? But the way you would want to do it is probably keep the reveal for the next page, so that and that tells you more or less the kind of strategy you want to take for the paneling. So for example, what's great about comic books when it comes to composition is that you can compress and extend time as much as you want. No, you can decide that 2 seconds is going to take 3 pages if it's like something you want to compress in time. Or you can decide that 1 year is actually taking 1 page, and you describe something that happens during a whole year in just 1 page using the image and the text. So I would say that it's almost more like how dynamic you want your page to be, more than necessarily like the paneling choices you're going to make. It's like you see, like the sketch from Yari, for example, is a good example of that, where you could decide that sketch that he's doing could be just 1 full page. And that could be like a moment of reflection for the character. And that would be like the whole left page. Or you could decide that it's just like a very short moment before he jumps off a cliff or jumps into action. And then you decide that this is going to take just like 20% of your page as opposed to just the whole page. So that would be my answer to your question. The layout of the paneling for me is really relative to the time you decide to spend on each part of the script. Here you go. That's the quickest answer I can give. Sorry, Yari.
Great answer. No, I thought that was wonderful. I mean, that's why I think some stories, like if you watch the original, the Watchmen film that came out by Zack Snyder, it was a great piece of filmmaking, in terms of execution and, the shots and everything, the colors are great, the sets are great. But one thing that it didn't translate over was the story of the Watchmen so well, because everybody knows who've read I'm not going to spoil it, but if you watch the show, obviously you know that a big squid attacks it, and you notice that the paneling just through telling the story of how a moment happens. They stretch out this whole squid attack on Manhattan, I believe it is. It's across like 4 pages, the whole destruction happens. And, you know, in the film, it's kind of hard to capture it the way that Dave Gibbons did on film. So, okay, so let's try to tackle this in a 1/8 in a square format. Square formats for me are like, they're the fun. There's so much fun that you can do here. So we're going to put the horizon line, let's say down there. Point of tension will be up here. So point of release, I imagine, will again be over here. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to just draw in my quick mountain, and then I'll bash shapes inside that. And I'll show you guys how that can work. Okay. Let's grab a thing over here. Then I'm going to switch to my iPad for a few minutes and do a little bit of a demo. Hey, Chris, I see your cursor. Okay, cool. One of the other ways that I find that comic book paneling can work well is if it has a direction and a flow. So you can have like a frame up here of somebody, let's say, dying, and then you have all the panels kind of work their way, I'm just going to use a color here, work their way down this way, and you have similar shapes from one panel to the next, where everything kind of falls into one direction. Or like on our comic book, you have the guys kind of sweeping over this way, the outpost that way. You can use these sweeps and directions to guide the eye of where you want the person to look. Let me finish this out. But I'll tell you, you guys are really going to have a lot of fun with this, doing this kind of stuff and just kind of bashing in these shapes. It is so fast and so fun to actually be able to do this stuff. It's cool. And the system is really optimized for this sort of work. Anyways, I'm going to draw my favorite part is the water. I think that water looks cool. And now the birds. And now our character. I want the one with the gun barrel down. Okay. Alright, let's go like this. Oops. Alright, that's cool. Just erase that one. There we go. Somehow we created a new layer. Okay, so with that said, I'll jump a little bit onto the iPad over here, and I'm going to turn off touch on my Cintiq so it doesn't trigger it, and it doesn't draw anything below. Okay, I think we're good. Make sure touch isn't on. Okay, cool. So I'm using an iPad Pro here. I think this is the 2018. And what I recommend you do, if you are using an iPad, it is the best way to draw with Magma Studio. It is fast. There is nothing that I think at all competes with this. What you might want to do is go into your settings of your iPad before you start using Magma. And there's a setting at the bottom called Scribble. I think you could just search in your settings called Scribble. Turn that off, because for some reason, it sees that Safari and the iPad sees Magma as a text box. And it's just a thing right now. You got to turn that off. The way that I like to configure Magma is I actually add it to the as a home page, and then it launches full screen. And the cool thing is I can be logged in both on my PC, on my Mac setup here, and on my iPad simultaneously. So that's kind of cool. And I'll actually just go ahead and continue the demo from here. So the one thing that is really cool is that all of the same keyboard shortcuts will work for, like you can hold down Alt to color pick. We haven't got all the gestures in there, but I do recommend jumping into your settings, your application settings, and clicking on touch, and then saying ignore touch. There's a reason for this. Anybody who's been using Magma knows that you can hit the H key on your keyboard to flip your canvas, but if you don't have a keyboard like me most of the time, you can zoom in and you can double tap, and you're not going to see this, but I guess I'll show you over here. You can double tap wherever you want to, and it will flip locally on that axis. So that's really cool. So I don't know what's keeping Photoshop from implementing a feature like this, but this is, they had me at hello with this feature. This is great. The flipping they'll probably add later of the canvas fully flipping, but this is awesome. This is great. And the drawing with
the canvas flipping. I mean, I use the H to flip the canvas. Oh, you mean on the iPad?
Yeah. So it's really slick that you can actually draw it, and it's fast. I mean, there's nothing that bogs this thing down on the iPad. The only thing that you don't get, unfortunately, because the iPad doesn't have it, is the hovering cursor. But I think with initial pressure, hopefully going forward, initial pressure, how much pressure you put down on the stylus, I think on most apps they cut it off at about 30-40%, and then they start the pressure. So, because the iPad is very sensitive, it's much more sensitive than these Wacoms. But hopefully we'll get, you guys will try it out. I recommend using the ink brush, turning down your minimum size to 0, and start your sketching. But you can try it with the shapes, and it is there is nothing faster than this. There is nothing faster than actually drawing with these shapes on an iPad. And then you can use your 2-finger to undo, and 3-finger redo. You get about 20 undos in there, so keep that in mind. You can hold down Shift when you're dragging out your shapes, so you have all that stuff built in, and it's just it's just full screen on the iPod. It feels like it's like a built-in app, and I really do enjoy the way that they have it. It has the other thing that it has, which is really great. It has palm rejection, so you don't have to like hover your hand. It won't mess up anything in my layers, and it's actually set up just the way it is on my Mac. So this is phenomenal. This is great. I'm really starting to use this more often over the other native apps that I have in here. It's just great. So that's my demo for this part of our presentation. David, what do you say we jump back and finish the comic book?
Yeah, sure. I've advanced the color on the other image. I mean, we can have a quick look at, just to show quickly how you. I mean, and the same when it comes to storytelling, it's the same thing. That I was telling Callan, which is I'm trying to think. Okay, well, I mean, I just threw that together quickly just to show how to quickly do a panels of a comic book. But I was thinking, okay, well, I have this character here. Maybe the sun is starting to rise. So at first, it's kind of like very, very early morning. The sun is not out there. And then suddenly the sun changes the colors of the environment, So what does that look like? And so that's kind of and that's how I decided to cut and to design my panels, But that's the kind of thinking that goes behind when I try to do panels for that kind of comic book, Yeah. So yeah, we can jump back onto the main attraction. Oh my goodness! Let's see what
that's so cool.
Lucas has done. Oh my god!
I want to put the pen down. I'm done, you guys. I'll see you guys.
Oh gosh! Yeah, I'm gonna go home. Let Antonio finish everything, and
it's been great, you guys.
That looks so good, Antonio. Oh my god!
Thank you.
This is awesome. I love that frame.
Wow.
It's so powerful. And with the sound effects and stuff, it's really starting to take shape.
I think so. It's been a great demo. You guys want to jump in together for a second on panel 3? We'll all just divvy out tasks and separate layers. Okay. So
Template 03?
Yeah, template 03. We have about 30 more minutes, I think, right? So we have some time.
I mean, if we see that we are time-wise that we have too much time on our hands, we don't have to do much.
No, we should finish the comic. We should finish the comic, see if there's any Q&A, and then.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So great. All right, so David, so how are we going to divide this up? So you want to do the foreground? I'll do the background, and he'll handle all the characters.
For which image?
For the bottom panel, that Antonio's working on now.
Oh, great.
The
Okay, so
characters.
I can do.
So
I can
just-
work on the bridge. I can work on the bridge. How about
So
that?
you work on the bridge. I'll work on the background, and I think
Awesome.
hopefully we'll be done sooner than later. It's cool.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. I'm gonna work on the bridge.
And yeah. Okay, I'll work on the background.
That's amazing. I mean, I have never experienced that before. That's just nuts, you know?
What's cool about Magma is if you notice when the cursors get close together, that they your cursor will, like the other person's cursor, like fades as it comes towards yours. It's really
Oh,
powerful.
no way. That's
Like
really
watch.
cool.
See, if I go like draw next to yours, your cursor will fade. Or like if I draw next to mine, vice versa, you'll see my name will fade.
Oh, I see
next
what
to
you mean.
yours.
I get
Yeah,
it.
it's really cool. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this.
So cool.
Because I'm like, gosh, I don't have to draw characters today. Woohoo!
I'm just realizing that I'm.
There was a question earlier about 3D. Those bikes were 3D when I started the process. So I modeled them in ZBrush, and then I brought them in and did some perspective screenshots and pasted them into this map. Worked really well. Especially because ZBrush has a feature called, I think it's called Fade Window. It's at the top right, and you can just drag the slider all the way to the left, and you can actually see what your drawing looks like underneath your what your background window is underneath ZBrush, so you can like perfectly match the perspective. I think the guys at Magma totally outdid themselves with this app. This is nuts to be able to draw with two other guys. Cool.
Sorry, guys, for being so silent, but I'm really focused now. If there's any questions.
So David, in your current workflow, do you ever get to do any drawing or sketching like this, or just more like plan views, top-down stuff that way you can like figure out where something is?
You mean in which workflow?
The stuff that we do. I mean, on your end when you're doing stuff, like, do you start with your process? You're going to start with a sketch sometimes, or do you normally just?
Nowadays, it's very rare that I start with a sketch. I mean, nowadays, I work mostly, I would say, in 3D nowadays, and the thing is that there are some tools in 3D that are so fast that you can really get like a composition. I mean, I'm talking about environments, of course. There's ways with environments to really move fast in 3D. This is why, for me, this is great to work on a comic book with you guys, because it really rekindles me with more of my past, and doing something that's more drawn, and it feels very nice. Especially doing it with two other friends, it's even more interesting, So I would say that nowadays, it's pretty rare that I do work in 2D.
Wouldn't it be cool if you could do this in other kind of softwares as well? Like, it wasn't like this technology wasn't just available for 2D drawing, but like collaboration could be done more through. I don't know why more people aren't picking it up. You know what I mean? I know VR has some of that stuff.
VR has that. Yeah,
and I think VR, that's great.
Yeah, and I think VR, when it comes to designing, ultimately is the future, in that sense. Especially with teamwork,
I think so too. I mean, imagine a virtual studio, like where you could just have like all your drawings virtually up on the wall. I think that would be really cool.
It does make me a little sad because I miss being in an office with people. But
You know, I'll tell you, I have a traditional sketchbook over here, and I every day I do one drawing because I think it's just real fun. It really actually is a bit more therapeutic, and I like it better. You know, but there's nothing that's gonna beat, like for me, pen and paper is the best. There's nothing that's gonna beat that. You know, not digital, not anything. All these tools are great for me is to do my work and get my job done faster, and you know, spend more time with the kids and the family. You know, but it's great that we have so much more, you know, at our disposal than we did like 10 years ago to be able to create stuff and to put it out there.
yeah, but then at the same time, now when we have jobs, people are asking us to do work faster. So there's a balancing out.
Just hire Antonio. I mean, just you know. Yeah, I think that I think that you know, if you think the way I draw is the way that I would sculpt something, or the way that I build something in 3D. You know, my design process doesn't change; it evolves. I'm thinking we can put some smoke down here, David. I think we're gonna do some smoke. So, want to help me out with that? Grab the. We should put some smoke to separate the background from the foreground, maybe.
I'm still working on the bridge right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna just cut it out.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, add some smoke. Do whatever you feel like. You know?
Yeah.
What you did in the background for Antonio's up on the top right panel was perfect. I thought that was really good. How are you doing, Antonio?
Oh, fine.
You're focused now.
Yeah. Normally,
Laser.
it's like a meditation.
I know. I'm the same.
I am a fluffy cloud, right? Just meditating. That was a Cars reference, but nobody saw Cars 3.
I'm checking how you guys did the shading on the other ones, you know, to make sure that I stick in the same style.
I was doing more of a Charlie Adler type thing from Walking Dead, you know, when I was drawing the top ones for him. And, you know, I was trying to follow it up with that. Yeah, so...
I'm gonna add a bubble to the bottom left next to the bridge where I'm working,
Okay,
because it's supposed to say something there. So I'm just gonna go back to my bubbles. I can find them.
I'm going to start to bash in some shapes.
There we go.
See, the cool thing is that you can totally, like, this is what I like about this, is that you can totally just move the things into position, kind of, sort of, and, like, get it, you know? Get it where you need it. by putting it backwards or forwards. You just want that functionality just to be there, and it's great that it's there. Let's see here. Some texture here.
It's so cool. I love how you do your shading, Antonio. It's so cool. This is really shaping up good. I think this is a premiere, what we're doing right here. I don't know. I don't think that anybody has been crazy enough to try that.
Yeah, I think this is fun. You know, it's not just a really cool concept that I like, but it's fun to see that, you know, everything kind of take its shape so rapidly. You know, that's the cool part. I'm gonna leave that shadow for Antonio.
Okay, I really want to read more about that comic book, by the way.
So, your favorite comic book artist is Mike Mignola?
He's one of them. I have many. I mean, of course, because I'm older. You know, I'm a big in the '90s comic books. You know.
Yeah, because what happened was when my brother went to college, he gave me all of his old comic books. So, you know, the first comic book I ever read was X-Men number 25 with Jim Lee. It had like 5 variants of the covers. I hated when they used to do that for comics. That like there's like 5 variants, and like the comic, like, you know, people would buy like everyone, and then you're like, man, I just want to read the thing. But I think it was a good shift from the 90s to the 2000s, because people were buying comics to collect them. I think in the 90s, from what my brother told me, and then now they're buying more of them to read the stories and things. So that's much better.
My big hero when I was growing up was Simon Bisley. You know, Antonio, you know Simon Bisley?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Like his Batman versus Judge Dredd. I mean,
yeah.
No, actually, yeah, that was Batman Judge Dredd. Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite comic book was Deadpool #1 by Joe Madureira. It just everything that guy drew was like he'd like draw a couple lines and you go, wow, that's so cool. He just defined a whole character. It was awesome. The last comic book I think I read was, I don't know if I can say it because the title has a curse word in it, so I'm not going to say it.
That's okay. Yeah, YouTube.
I'm not going to say it.
YouTube
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. It's just, yeah.
We have a lot of layers going on here, by the way. Just realizing.
Yeah, it's amazing that it can handle this many layers. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
You know,
don't talk too fast.
This is by the way, you guys should know this is a near 8K canvas. So, you know, it's awesome. It's at 300 DPI. I mean, Magma handles all that stuff really nicely. So, it's really cool.
Antonio, I'm gonna copy your drawings. Okay.
Okay.
Okay with that.
Just when you draw the green grouper, just you can draw it on top and draw the shadows on there. That'd be kind of cool.
So Keely is saying this is right. This looks like a really fun way to work. I have never experienced this before. It's really feels really good. I feel like I'm learning as I'm working with Antonio. I feel like I'm sucking his brain. Like I'm.
Yeah, I just like watching. I'm so distracted. Like I'm not. I got one hand over here and one hand looking at it. Like one eye looking at Antonio. It's just like crazy.
I am serious. I'm imitating his shading. I'm just trying to be a mini Antonio.
Yeah, we're trying, but we'll see how we succeed.
Like a baby Antonio.
And I just want to put this out there, David. If I give you permission to say so. If you guys have, a really portfolio with a lot of pieces that you're proud of, please do send an email over to producing@pitchdevstudios.com. We always like to meet new talent and see what's out there that maybe we've come across a project that might be appropriate to work with you. Please do send us an email at producing@pitchdevstudios.com. We're always looking to work with new people and expand and make relationships with great artists. So please
totally.
send us your stuff.
I think that's a very good point. Also, the other thing is, if you want to do like a comic book with Magma and with the sound pieces, the bubbles and stuff like that. I mean, the bubbles you can find them in the tool itself. But if you want like use the same text we used and stuff like that, you can go to our Gumroad. I don't know if you, Chris, you want to, and you can use those pieces, do your own comic book, and send us through Twitter or Instagram. Send us your comic book. We'll be super happy to look at them. And if you want comments or if you want like feedback or whatever, we'll be more than happy to jump with you guys. Exactly, like Chili says, it's a great way to look over your coworker's shoulder while they draw. That's exactly right. I mean, Antonio is not going to be happy. I'm going to ask him if I can paint with him all the time now. I'm going to call him at 3 in the morning. Antonio, je veux dessiner avec toi.
Oui.
À 3h du matin.
C'est bon, c'est un bon horaire pour dessiner.
So,
en fait, j'adore dessiner la nuit.
Yeah,
yes,
it is so fun to draw with this guy, man. I tell you, gosh, we are learning so much as we sit here. I was going to say to you that we should make the announcement of when our next appearance will be.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. So
bring it up, Chris.
Which one?
Go to number 10.
Thank you.
So if you want to join us, we're gonna have like a very cool demo for ZBrush Summit. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, bring it up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So October 23rd through 26th. Which day is our demo for ZBrush?
We're going on first, I think they said, but that was tentatively. So they'll probably be making the announcement on ZBrushCentral.com. You guys can go there, and I think they'll make an announcement of when presenters are. But yeah, we'll be presenting really cool stuff. We'll be premiering some really great stuff you guys will be able to get your hands on and use yourself. I was going to say, so yeah, it's the summit's the October 23rd to the 26th. I don't know when the Sculpt Off is in those days, but I think those are all 3 days of presentation.
Yeah, and what we're going to be presenting is going to be really about design. You know, we're going to be showing some hard surface design, cars and jets and whatnot.
I looked down and Antonio was like, "Finish this thing." I mean, this is insane. So yeah, we're going to be doing cars and jets and all the cool fun stuff that we enjoy doing, professionally. You guys will really enjoy it because you guys will get to enjoy the fruits of our labor with some stuff that we'll be releasing around that time specifically for ZBrush. So it'll be cool. And perhaps you guys will get to see some of the stuff that we'll actually be collaborating on in Magma, maybe from the design standpoint as well, like critiques and things like that. Yeah, this will be a fun event. You guys have been a great audience, by the way, just let me say that. You guys have been really, really great sports, and thank you guys for sticking around from start to finish.
Yeah, for asking questions and stuff.
For asking questions, especially, and especially thank you to the guys at Magma for really building a great tool. Thanks to Scott Robertson for contributing and his wonderful characters to this amazing app, and we got to do it again next time. Hopefully we'll see what this thing looks like in a year, and how far it's come, and some new tricks to show you guys, and maybe next time we'll do a color demo too, because I think there would be time for it. Thinking here. What are you looking for?
Oh, Kili is very, very nice. Kili is telling us, this has been so great to watch. Can't wait to go read this comic. Well,
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hopefully we can finish this. But I mean, I feel
we can finish
Antonio,
this.
because poor Antonio is doing everything. He's doing all the hard work.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus. Man, this is great stuff.
I just realized that I wrote all the doubles. I did all the doubles, so that's cool.
You did them all?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can we post this somewhere, David? Like, can we post this on one of the social media sites?
Of course. Yeah. We'll probably put it on Instagram.
I think before we leave, we should. We have about 7 minutes. I think we should just sign it and.
Sure.
We're close to signing it. Okay, cool. So where should we sign this thing?
Well, I think first of all, Antonio's signature should be the biggest.
Yeah, his signature should be first. I'm gonna make mine like that small.
Well, thanks, Callan. Thanks for being here, Callan.
Great questions too. I'm sorry I got a bit sidetracked. Yeah, this is looking awesome, man. I mean, this is
and this is our first, that we're doing all together, and I think
we never actually prepared this whole thing together.
No,
we just, you guys are seeing what we created on the fly here. So this is really cool. I also want to thank our great, amazing director. Can we get a one shot here? So take a bow, Chris. It's really cool.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you so much for all the hard work.
Put up your band.
Thanks, Greg.
No problem. Thank you for your hard work. You guys, it's been great.
So Antonio, tu veux signer en bas de l'image, en bas à droite, tu veux signer ton nom?
En bas, dans
oui,
la
à côté du frame à droite qui est super beau avec le beast. It looks so beautiful.
And
then we'll sign underneath your signature.
I'll sign underneath, way underneath the signature. This is great.
He's sending me this panel,
Where panel?
this bottom panel.
Okay, cool. I'll wait for him to sign first, and then I'll go ahead. I'll write my name in Hebrew. Because I nobody...
Excellent. Beautiful.
How many people are still watching?
There we go.
14.
14?
Great.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you guys all for joining us today. We'll be at the summit October 23rd through the 26th. Just look at what days we're going. I thought we were going first, but I'm not sure. This has been great, David. Thank you so much for helping us put this together.
Well, thank you. Thanks to you, to you, Yari, to organizing all this. And special thanks to Antonio for being present.
Oh, for sure. Antonio deserves the biggest thanks. Antonio, we're talking after this, man. This is great.
Okay.
What a cool comic. Great. So you're going to post this online, and they're going to be able to download this at all?
Yeah, it's on our Gumroad, so I mentioned it.
So this is going to go into our Gumroad as well. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can add this to our Gumroad for sure.
You can add this. You can save the PSD with all the things. I think you might have to go in each one and do it. So
I'm gonna save a PNG of the whole thing.
Okay. Okay. Great. I'm saying you have to go to each one in the sequence and probably do it. Anyways, great. Great. So we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being here.
Thank you very much. Au revoir, as they say.
Au revoir.
Treacherous.